Welcome to the From Chaos to Clarity Unleash Your Business Potential podcast. I am your host, Sonia Jones of GIP Financials, your Mr. Miyagi of Money. And on today's episode, I'm honored to be able to present to some and introduce to others entrepreneur Miss Issa Gray, who is the owner of E-Ray IJ. Just a wonderful individual, but her jewelry and her accessories are amazing. You have to check those out. And we met Issa through a nonprofit called Village United in their Her Pro Bono Program, and we provide technical assistance to that program. And so Issa was one of the mentees that we had. And what we did for Issa was basically established financial systems for her business. And what that looked like was, one, we had to get her established in accounting software. And we used the DIY tracker that was created by our accounting manager, Latasha Phillips. From there, we categorized Issa's income and expenses. And then from there, we also walked her through her data with the profit and loss statement, the balance sheet, and her cash flow information. And with that data, Issa was able to take that 2023 data and plan for 2024. So that looked like her budget. We got that established, and she was also able to plan for some vending events. One in particular that is a huge opportunity for her. This is a repeat gig for her, so we're excited about that. She has done amazing work. Tabitha Brown has endorsed her product, and Candy Burris has endorsed her product. So we're just glad to be in the know. You know what I'm saying? But I think you will love this episode because Issa really poured her heart out into the journey of her knowing her numbers, learning her numbers, and how she was able to use that data to help grow her business on the other side. So I hope you guys are ready for this conversation. We had fun the whole time that we were on recording. So I hope that you're inspired and also pumped up to get your numbers in position for 2024. All right, you ready? Let's go to the episode. Welcome to the From Chaos to Clarity Unleash Your Business Potential podcast. You already said this from the beginning how it's going to go down on this episode. I'm your host, Sonia Jones of GIP Financials, your Mr. Miyagi of Money. And my guest today is near and dear to my heart. We haven't even been around each other a whole year yet, but it seems like we've had a lifetime relationship because she's just so full of life. Ladies and gentlemen, I introduce to some and present to others. This is Miss Issa Gray of E-Ray IJ.
Hey.
E-Ray IJ. Yeah. You better prep. Show our age, sis. Show our age.
Yes.
Yes. So tell us a little bit about your business and the story of how your business came to be.
Okay, sure. E-Ray IJ is a jewelry brand, and we are dedicated to the empowerment of Black women through our adornments. We specialize in gold-plated and silver-plated jewelry that emphasizes the importance of our heritage as Black people in the diaspora. Through, we call them what is called Adinkra symbols, West African symbols. And so they have intention, their meaning behind each symbol that we have to offer our customers. And we just here for the culture.
I love it.
Representing the culture.
Yes, and we'll make sure to include all of your social media handles in the description because y'all, Issa and E-Ray IJ, I mean, some celebrities are adorning the jewelry. We're talking about Tabitha Brown. Yeah, put it out to show it.
I know.
Yes.
I've been ripping and running, but I definitely did not want to miss this opportunity to talk to you. So Okay, go ahead.
Yes, but let me. I want to make sure that I give you your flowers because Tabitha Brown, Candy Burris, Essence Festival. So Issa has done some phenomenal things, specifically in the marketing space. I've learned a lot from her, just watching her on social media, and how she carries the brand, right? Just beautiful content, beautiful, like organic content, authentic content. I love looking at it all the time. Yeah. So I just want to give you a flowers for that, sis, because
Thank
you
you.
doing it.
They
Yeah.
well received. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Absolutely. Yeah. And so on this episode, we're going to really kind of like a follow up from the episode that I did recently on Let's Get Clear About Grants, right? And one of the things that I teach about on grants are grants look different now. They don't look like the PPP, like money just seems like it's coming out of the sky. Like you had no accountability with the money. You just had to put some numbers on the application and boom, you got some money in your bank account. But grants look differently now. And one of the ways that grants look differently is with cohort programs. Some people may call them incubators, accelerators, or what have you. But that's how Issa and I connected. GIP Financials is a provider for a program called Her Pro Bono. Is one of the programs under the nonprofit Village United. And Her Pro Bono is a technical assistance cohort program to where they connect entrepreneurs. And I want to say all y'all are retail based entrepreneurs,
Yes.
and they are connected to providers such as branding strategy, digital marketing, accounting, and so forth. And we were lucky to not only meet with Issa, but another young lady, and hopefully she'll be on the podcast soon. But I really wanted Issa to walk through just the process so y'all can hear, the importance of not just being in the program, but also just taking note of the transformation that comes through these programs, right? Because, like we said, grants aren't free. You have to put some skin in the game. So, Issa, walk us kind of through how you heard about the Her Pro Bono program and the application process for it.
Okay. Well, thank you so much again, Sonia, for allowing me to have this type of dialogue with you and share with your audience what it is and how you help people directly. So yeah, we met through her pro bono, and her pro bono is designed to help the small business in retail, and some of their what do you call them, stress points or weak spots or challenges whatnot in their business. And so you're able to select out of the four, what is it, what's the word I'm looking for? I have enough brain part.
A
Um,
provider
provided
category, yeah.
categories that you feel that you want to prioritize and your business needs the most help with. And so for me, I decided to go with financials. It was like I was biting my teeth and sweating just filling out the application. But I knew that it was necessary for my business for the life of my business, for the growth and for my business to scale, that I needed to really sit down and take my finances seriously, because I hadn't done that. Not this program, this business was a passion project for me in the beginning,
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't know that it would morph and it would actually graduate to an actual viable business. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm definitely thankful for the way that I have, the opportunities and the success that it has afforded me. But logistically, I had to take care of this. And so I'm so grateful for you all being a part of my ecosystem to help me to get to where I need to be. I've never applied for a grant, never applied for a business loan, and it was because of that, because I didn't have ish together. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I'm just grateful, and every day I'm breathing a little bit better after every meeting that we are having together to really get to the meat of the matter and be able to present my business in a good light, without
Mhm.
having to shy away from some uncomfortable conversations. So yeah, you all
Mhm.
have definitely helped me with that. So thank you.
Wonderful, wonderful. So yeah, so just talking about the beginning parts of our relationship, and just to give y'all kind of a context on how the Her Pro Bono uh, works from the provider side, is that we have to prepare the introductory meeting. And so with that, we do have some information that the founders, as they are called the founders, um, provide for us. And so that may look like a P&L. It may look like whatever their financial information that they have on hand, right? And so with Issa, stop laughing. Why you laughing, girl? And so we met Issa, and hey, everybody got to start somewhere.
That's why
So
I'm
I'm not
laughing.
saying this in jest. I'm saying just because what I'm about to say, everybody's like, child, for real? Yes. And so Issa manages, her stuff with Shopify, right? And it is a very rigorous merchant program. And she provided for us basically all of her, transaction detail. And one of the first things that we did for her, because we always want to end the coaching with a win. We want to start with a win. We're going to talk a little bit about the tough stuff in the middle, and then we're going to end that thing with the win. So we talked about goals, right? We talked a little bit about, some things. But then when we got that transaction history and that, that express sheet, and we pulled that thing out, all we did was just track the income. I said, sis, look how much you made. And she was like, I did that. I said, you did. And you know how it is when take children, with potty training. As soon as they get on top, you gotta give them. I mean, it's party time, baby. That's how you have to do it, right? Because you want your founders, you want your for real, you want your folks to be celebrated and to stay
Yes.
motivated, right? So just showing her one how to even take that information and look at that data to be like, dang, right? I did that because if you're in your business, all you doing is just the transactions, just making sure that you selling stuff, right? As you should, because you got a business. But to actually take those numbers and even just looking like, look how much you made, right? And Issa is also working full time. So it's just like anything over zero is a plus. That's what my coach Sean Strickland says, right? So you have to present those wins as the coach to your folks so they can be motivated to continue to go forward. So that was the first step. And so kind of as you were laughing, kind of what were you thinking about? While I was talking about that, you were laughing. You remember that?
I remember that very vividly, and that's why I just was laughing because I'm like, I mean, our first day, yeah, I felt like a baby, and I really had to convince myself and really I would have to talk to myself before meetings like, okay, 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 okay. It's something you don't want to do, but you got to do it. Something you don't know how to
Mhm.
do, but you have to learn it. I'm 44 years old. Like that's like I mean, and I have a degree in economics, but that was long ago. But it's just kind of like relearning a thing. And but most importantly, it was facing a fear.
Mhm.
So your motivation and your cheerleading and Latasha's motivation and cheerleading helped me to go to the next meeting, helped me to come to keep showing up because there were days where I just didn't want to do it. And so
Mhm.
I appreciate that sincerely. And it's just something I didn't want to face. I was making
Mhm.
money, I wasn't in a red, but
Right.
I really couldn't. you also gave me a different perspective on how to see my gains and how to see my wins and how to appreciate, the steps that it takes. You can't go up the elevator too quick. So we're still working
Mm-hmm.
on it, and it's definitely
Mm-hmm.
is a process, but it's also a mindset of actually
Yeah.
seeing and so doing some internal work to support your goals as well. So I appreciate it.
Right.
I appreciate all the cheering that you've been doing for me. But I'm laughing like,
Absolutely.
woo. Every
Mm-hmm.
meeting I was like, I know these other business ain't struggling like me. I feel so, it would just it'd be a dark cloud. And I just been running away from this little dark cloud over my head. But I've been able to it's opened up. It's been able to give me a little bit more motivation that, I can I'm on the track to really running a business, really being able to eventually pay myself, to eventually,
Mm-hmm.
you know, be on the trajectory of having assistants or a staff,
Mm-hmm.
however that looks. So, yeah, I'm excited.
Right.
We're
Yep,
not done.
absolutely.
We are not done.
Oh no. No, we are not done. We are not done. So sliding into the second phase. So after we had the intro meeting, then we had to set up Issa's action plan. So we talked about, the state compliance, but the biggest goal was to get her 2023 financials organized, and we used Latasha's DIY tracker for that. And one of the things that we actually talked about in the live the other day with Saturday Tax Talks was a lot of entrepreneurs that use like merchant accounts don't realize that those accounts have to be treated like checking accounts as well, because they have to be reconciled. And then especially like with those, like with your Squares, your PayPals, your Shopify's, because they're so robust on the back end, you have to pull a lot of different data, right, to make sure that your transactions are accurate. So one of the things that we had to segment like the income, right, because you got your income in Shopify, right, and we had to kind of set out a process and document kind of like once Issa gets ready to, leave the nest, the GIP nest, we want to make sure to set her up. So we were in the process of like, all right, so for the income, where's the sole information coming from the income? We got to get it from Shopify, because we got to record the gross income and put that in the tracker, right? Because we can't record what's being transferred to the checking account because we're missing some big pieces of the information, like your merchant expense, as well as recording your full gross revenue. So that was one big thing. And then we had to focus on the expenses, right? And making sure that all your expenses were being addressed in the DIY tracker. Some of those expenses we saw in Shopify, some of them we didn't. We had to get them from the checking account. So being able to identify, which expenses were coming from where, because you have to use both of those platforms, right? So, and especially in Issa's case, she was doing great because not only did she have her Shopify, she also had her checking account. A lot of entrepreneurs are using their PayPals and their Squares and their Shopify's like their business checking account. That's a big no-no, right? You still have to have things that are separate, right?
Right.
And then another thing that Issa did a great job of is identifying like her client base, like some of her personal clients, right, and personal customers. She had a way of kind of, I guess tracking sales with them, but at the end of the day, they still had to be tracked back to the business checking account, as opposed to, the general customer base coming from Shopify. But having to think through all those things
It's
and to
a
be
lot
like,
of
you
moving
know what?
parts.
Yeah, come on, talk about it. Let's go. What you know? What? Come on.
No, I'm just saying, like, to see you and Latasha, like, you all were basically, y'all have been just like tag teaming me. And I'm still in the nest. I don't know what you're talking about. I just wanted to say that. I ain't going nowhere. And so, but to see how you all were collecting all the data, place it into this. I mean, this is an the DIY tracker. I don't know who else uses it, but it was very new to me. But you all seem to do it very seamless. I don't know how Latasha does it. I don't know how you do it, but when you all, it's like the meeting of the minds, and Latasha knows the rule. You know the rules. Latasha knows the inputs, and it just works. It works really well to see your growth, to see the monthly data in a very simplified way. But I know it takes a lot. You know, there's a lot of
Mhm.
moving parts that you all had to extract and plug in, as far as Shopify, then my checking account, then my vendor accounts and my expenses.
Mhm.
And I had a business account, but I was just dumping everything in there and just going
Mhm.
about my day. I would not suggest that to any other business owner. I would say tackle your things at
Mhm.
least quarterly. And so my goal is, after this quarter, to really hone in quarterly, now that I know it, so it won't
Mhm.
be um piled up at the end of the 12 months. So I'm
Right.
am trying to commit myself and being kind to myself as I commit myself
Mhm.
to uh,
You better.
doing
Right.
better with my finances.
Right. You got to give yourself some grace
Yeah.
because, like we said, as you're doing business, it's one thing to be in the business, but then have to step back and kind of look. It's like looking at Santa's elves in the workshop, just going pop, 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 and just imagine like Shopify. You got elves in Shopify. You got elves in the checking account.
Mm-hmm.
You got elves in all your vendor platforms. We had to, I think, look at like the Alibaba and the shipping and things
Mm-hmm.
like that. And then we also had to, once we put all that information in there, then we also had to look at, the profit and loss. And I think for me, I think the light bulb, I think I saw your aha moment, when we went through and did the profit and loss and was looking at, what you did for the year for 2023.
Mm-hmm.
And then also just looking at like the profit margins and stuff like that. Because like you said, if you're in it, you just kind of like you just in it, you don't really get a chance to see it,
Yeah.
big picture. And like Issa did some really like to see the monthly profit and loss and to see the months where she, generated the most sales. I was like, you remember what you did there? She was like, yeah, that's Essence. Remember what you did here? Oh, that's when we was over there, doing this, that, and the third. And she, not only was she able to visually remember what she did in those high yield months, she also remembered what she did in those low yield months
Mm-hmm.
as well. So you can be able to take that data and know like to run the play. So once we did that, then we were able to take the 2023 data. And the last meeting, we were started, formulating and talking about the 2024 budget
Mm-hmm.
because we're gonna run the Essence play again this year,
Yeah.
right? She already, thinking about that and thinking about the cost and the expenses and stuff, and you got to plan for those things ahead of time, right? So how did learning? Well, let's talk about the 2023 data. When we walked you through that, how did those numbers make you feel?
They made me feel really good. And that was towards the end of last year, the very end of last year, that we really looked at those numbers. And I couldn't believe it made me want to go harder on the things that I knew that I could, to increase my sales. Because it had me thinking, okay, in this, when I had the low yielding profits, like, I really wasn't doing much. So what can I do to
Mm-hmm.
increase that? And so I put in a little bit more effort. I started watching how I spent my money in the beginning of the year. And I'm making more. Um, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
so I can't wait till our meeting. I think we may meet tomorrow, but for you
Yeah.
all to see January and February's numbers.
Mm-hmm.
So
Absolutely.
that helps. But like, yeah, I think, um, I think, your style of coaching has helped me to not be afraid to look at the numbers
Mm-hmm.
and to congratulate myself for sure.
Right. And one of the things too that I want to address is that as we were going through the DIY tracker, there were a whole lot of I don't know. We asked a lot of questions, and some is like I don't know, and that's all right. Guess what we did? We took notes and we wrote it down, right? Because that's a learning point, right? That we all have to make sure that we understand, and that's why I'm emphasizing this because the folks that are listening think just like you were thinking. Surely I got to be the only knucklehead that's going through what I'm going through right now with my financials. And no, it's not, because you have to think about your financial process like a puzzle. There's so many different moving parts and pieces to it that an expert has to bring those things to your attention, and you're not going to know. It's okay not to know,
Mm,
right? I used to teach. Well, I still teach piano lessons, but that was the whole thing. Like the whole purpose of practice is for you to goof.
yeah.
Practice is a safe space for you to goof and not know. So I think one of the memories that I remember was when we were talking about inventory. You remember when we were talking about your inventory?
Yes.
And we're talking about the balance sheet. And especially for you retail guys out there, retail entrepreneurs, you got to know how much inventory you have on hand, because that's an asset.
Hmm.
That's an asset,
For
right?
sure.
And so just yeah, and just walking through, even if you may not know exactly how much you may have, but a good estimate would help, because you need to put that on your balance sheet, because once it's time, like Issa had a very commendable, profit and loss with a very solid profit margin. So now she's in position, if she wants to go out and get the capital that she needs, even if she needed just a little bit to help her, through, essence and that big experience right there, right? She now has what she needs to take to a lender. Or even better, if we get ready to plan and look at some gaps, we can start planning to apply for some grants, right? Because our REIJ already has the notoriety and the impact, right? So now we're going to start taking that data and start thinking about strategies on how that organization can position themselves for community impact, to start partnering with other organizations to start getting some funding and stuff like that. So that's the importance of having, an expert at your disposal to get you thinking outside the
Yes.
box, right?
Yeah. As a business
Mm-hmm.
owner and a new small business owner, because I've only been in business close to 3 years now. I've been working in a corporation, so that was what the accountants did at my job. I just
Mm-hmm.
have to show up, perform my job, my duties, responsibilities, go home and get a
Mm-hmm.
check. But now to be the head and the tail has definitely um
Hey, if you have not taken advantage of our tax prep boot camp, I got good news for you. We are having another one on July 10th and 17th. But I'm letting you know now that we have changed the name of it from the Tax Prep Boot Camp to the Know Your Numbers Boot Camp. So if you need help organizing your financials, if you do not have accounting software, if you want to learn how to apply for grants but you don't know where to start, and if you're trying to pay yourself in your business and you don't have a clue how to do that, you need to be in the Know Your Numbers boot camp. So click the link below to register. And we also have flexible payments through Klarna. We are excited to help you know your numbers. Go ahead and register. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. See you soon.
yeah, to see. the processes from beginning to end has definitely given me a new mindset.
Mm-hmm. Right. So, kind of, what's the biggest mindset or the biggest aha moment that you've had now that you've gone through this process of knowing your numbers? What's the biggest aha moment that you've had in your mindset?
Um, that I can push myself to do double or triple this year.
Mm-hmm.
That I could have more gains, and that I could really scale this business and have something well documented so that I can present to banks and to angel investors or whomever, where I can
Mm-hmm.
gain some capital. I feel much more confident. The road, I mean, are not done, but I feel
Mm-hmm.
much more confident than I did when I first started, for sure. Um, and I know for this year I don't have to do much cleanup because I'll have
Mm-hmm.
things in order. And so,
Right.
as they say, we must do things in decency and order. I have things
That's
in order now, at least a little bit more than I did definitely in 2023. So I'm excited.
wonderful. And I think from the provider side of it, the transformation that I love to see and hear as we're going through those numbers and the start, you can as we're explaining some things, you can already kind of see the numbers and the thoughts just going through the founders' heads, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because one of the things that I like to do is to, record our sessions so you can, kind of track your growth. Because having the conversation during the intro call and then having the conversations once we near the end, I mean, it's the decision making conversations that are just like, oh, you're the CEO over it. You're the CEO over there talking that game, right? And just thinking about, man, well, if I could do X, Y, and Z, I didn't think about that. I'm gonna call so and so, and I'm gonna think about this. And when I get ready to do this campaign, I'm gonna do da 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 da. I didn't even think about that, right? Because now that you know the numbers, like you were saying, you got the confidence to like I can scale if I know that that the vendor events and those marketing campaigns are yielding this type of result. Why shouldn't I run the play again? But this time when I run the play, I'm gonna be more prepared,
Right.
right? So I'm gonna be able to plan. I should be able to have a budget, things like that. Those are the type of decisions and the money moves that are gonna take you to the next level. That's the stuff I like to see in here. Right.
Right.
Because it's like, ooh, we were like, Latasha, did you hear that? Did you hear that? Right. That's what we like to hear. It's talking, making the money moves. Right.
Yes.
Absolutely. So I know we've been talking about mindset, but I definitely want to ask you, as we have the entrepreneurs listening, um, how do you invest? I'm gonna ask you two questions. How do you invest in you, Issa? But then how do you also invest in your business?
Those are two tough questions. Um, how I invest in myself is I try desperately to turn off the social media,
Mm-hmm.
the Shopify email chat, create a few boundaries to disconnect from my business so that I can have a fresh, you know, a, a freshness
Mm-hmm.
uh, to the week or to the month. So that's what I do for myself. That's how I invest in myself when it comes to being a business owner. But I also invest in learning more about um, how to communicate with my vendors, learning more about, how to studying, I would say, on how to create the best prices for my pieces, and yeah, studying, learning, and decompressing.
Mm-hmm.
I would
Absolutely.
say
Okay.
invest in some self care.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Good, good. And even like from one of the ways that you also invested in yourself is, participating in the Her Pro Bono program.
That's
So
true.
yeah.
Yes.
And so
But I
let's
guess I thought that was more like business, but you're correct.
right.
That's investing in myself.
Yeah, 'cause
It's
you
a
gotta give
marriage
your
though. Like
time.
I can't really separate. I'm trying to separate, the
Mhm.
business from myself, but yeah, investing in my business has, yeah, I've been doing that too with my own funds.
Mhm. Absolutely.
And yeah, and time.
Mhm.
I've been investing in my business.
Right. Absolutely. And especially thinking about it from if you're trying to build a business and you're also working, full time, and then you also have a family, then you also have, we are both, sorority girls, so we got community
Mhm.
things we have to do and stuff like that. All those things you have to try to figure out how to fit those
Create
things
balance.
in some way, shape. Yeah, it's kind of like a pie. You might this might be a bigger slice than the other slice and stuff like that. So it's really important that you still take time to pour into yourself
Yeah.
because I don't know about you, Issa. Like for me, it's one thing. It's easier said than done. Where when people say like you should pour into yourself to the point where everybody else gets the overflow.
That
Something ain't realistic, man.
I never feel that way. I can tell you that
No.
that is a very unrealistic statement for me.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, I don't think I have ever felt full enough that others just get the residuals.
Mm-hmm.
And I know people say that, but yeah,
Mm-hmm.
because it's more
Right.
of a cycle, you know.
Right.
Like
Exactly.
you give and then you get and then you give and you get.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Yeah. And so if you could offer some advice, especially for those who are thinking about enrolling in a cohort or incubator program where you have to get with other entrepreneurs, because there's some folks out there that's kind of like, I don't feel like fooling with nobody. I don't be, I'm just gonna try. I don't know about all that. What advice would you give somebody who may be skeptical about sharing space with other entrepreneurs in a cohort setting?
I would say do not let that limit you. Um, like go for it. Open yourself up to new possibilities, opportunities, and new people to network with because those people would will show you more support than your friends and family have in your small business adventure. I have met a lot of wonderful people and have connected with a lot of wonderful souls that have helped to propel my business and the from the most minute
Mhm.
to elaborate ways. Like it has truly helped me. Don't go into it with any expectation at all.
Right.
um Listen, absorb, and connect. That's the best thing I can say.
Yep. Listen, absorb, and connect, and especially like, and I'll just be honest, like with the Soul Shift Inner Circle, that's how Latasha and I we are actually in, a
Right.
mentorship group, and that's how we ended up partnering, right? Because you might have somebody within your cohort that might offer a complimentary service or product to what you do, and y'all can easily link up and boom, you got a whole nother, sales service campaign or what have you.
Mhm.
And now you open yourself up to a whole nother audience, right? So don't be afraid to put yourself out there and collab, right? Ain't no gatekeeping, when it comes to
No,
the co-op
it's true
span,
meeting of the minds.
right?
Yeah.
It's like the Avengers. It's
Hmm.
just like that.
Yeah.
Everybody got their own superpower, and y'all get together.
Everybody.
Like, everybody go take care of the bad people all together. Thor.
I've
That's what his
I've
name
learned
is.
a
Thor.
lot from my cohorts.
Yeah.
I learned a lot from you. I learned a lot from watching how you and Latasha bounce ideas and information back and forth while I'm observing and
Mm-hmm.
listening and taking that in on how, collaborations can really do well, do a, justice, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And you see so many collaborations in these corporate arenas, and we can develop the same blueprint. Not
Absolutely.
develop the same blueprint. We can follow the
Right.
same blueprint,
We follow the same blueprint. Absolutely. It's all about
Mhm.
linking tables, man. Instead of just building our own separate tables, let's start linking these tables together and grow, right? And impact our communities in phenomenal ways. So, Issa, it has been a pleasure, darling, having you in this space and just sharing your bright light with our audience. So we're going to close out with one more question. This is the question that we ask all of our guests. So
Okay.
now they stop. So now that you have, before you met us, you said, them numbers were all over the place. Now that you have connected with us and worked with us, now you see your numbers in a whole different light. So there are some entrepreneurs out there that are still like, they still mad at their tax preparer because they took advantage of them. They still like, I don't want to pay all that money for bookkeeping. I don't even know them folk like that. I don't even trust them folk. So talk to the entrepreneur that is on the fence. Why is it important for you to invest in an expert to know your numbers?
The main reason that it is important to invest in um, a tax accountant or financial provider is you need players on your team. You need to develop an ecosystem of people that can help support your business, because you can't scale without it. You
Mm-hmm.
cannot grow if you are wearing all of the hats. So finding a provider that you can trust with your money, that you can trust with your information is it's it's important for your business to grow, and it's important for the business owner to not feel overwhelmed with all of the responsibilities.
Right.
So, yeah, everybody has a job.
Right. Everybody has a job. And as you continue to grow, like you said, you need some partners, right? You need your own personal set of Avengers, right?
Right.
Because those experts are going to help protect you, and
Right.
they have to create a safe space for you to disclose and be honest about things, right? So we
Absolutely.
play a part as well as to create that environment to make you comfortable and safe.
And you have, and I appreciate that.
Oh, boo
I know I thought I was gonna get
boo.
on this interview and cry myself, but I said keep it in.
Right. You because we
But
are
yeah,
G's up in this thing. G's.
yeah, it's been a great ride. I'm thankful that you all stuck with me for the second half to ensure that all things were complete.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And we appreciate you for wanting to hang out and roll with us. That's a big old compliment, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, we got big things popping, baby. We got things in the crock pot.
I
We
can't
we
wait.
cooking it up.
I can't wait how y'all help me to figure this Essence Festival out. So
Hmm. I'm excited about that. I'm so excited.
yeah.
Yeah. So again, Issa, it has been a pleasure, and thank you for sharing your experience with our listeners. And we are gonna make sure, yes, y'all, and we're gonna make sure that we have all of your information. But I tell you what, go ahead and tell the people how they can follow you and connect with you.
You can follow me on Instagram at Ireaje. That's Ireaje, 6 letters. Ireaje. And also we have a website, and that is erayaj.com. You can also follow us on Facebook at erayaj. So all social platforms, erayaj, LinkedIn as well. I just got a LinkedIn account. I'm still trying to figure out, the LinkedIn. But yeah, it's erayaj, which means blessings of wealth. So we are here for all the abundance, prosperity, wealth, and favor and blessings always.
I love it. Amazing. Amazing. So, you guys, thank you so much for listening to the From Chaos to Clarity Unleash Your Business Potential podcast. I'm your host, Sonia Jones. Again, Issa, thank you for taking the time out and blessing the people today. And we will see you guys on the next episode. See you later, alligators. Thank y'all so much for listening to the From Chaos to Clarity Unleash Your Business Potential podcast. Again, I'm Sonia Jones of GIP Financials. You're Mr. Miyagi of Money, but I got a couple of homework assignments for you before you leave this episode. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and also leave a comment and let us know what your biggest takeaways were from this episode. And if you are looking for bookkeeping assistance or you need a money thought buddy, make sure that you go to our website, www.gipfinancials.com, and click on the schedule a consultation button at the top of our website, little green box. And you can schedule a discovery call and talk to one of our teammates to see if we're a good fit. All right. See you guys on the next episode. Take care.